In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to cut this piece of material that we marked up in the last video. In primary school, I presume you're working with a variety of resources, so I'm going to approach it how you might. Presuming that you may well be using detachable vices, so I'm going to start just by attaching my vice to the table. It may be that you're using one of the other vices you can see in the background, but for the minute I'm going to work with this one. Okay. You may well also be working with a range of different saws. So I have a coping saw, I have maybe something used with older students, a tenon saw, and then with smaller pieces of material, plastics and metals, a junior hacksaw. It doesn't matter which of these you use, whatever you've got access to will potentially do the job depending on the size of the material. You may have access to what we call a bench hook. Now a bench hook usually hooks onto the bench. You can in fact use it in a vise to secure your work slightly differently, so that I can put that and create a bit of a worktop for putting my material on. Okay, now I'm going to presume you don't have a bench hook and we're going to just use the vise. Now you can see, and if you remember from before, two lines. I actually need to turn it round so that I can see both lines, and I'm going to secure the work in the vise. Now I need to decide which side of the line I'm cutting on. It doesn't matter for this project. Sometimes it might matter. I might need this piece of material, so I need to cut on this side. That being the scrap side, that being the side that I want. Now for this, we actually want both, so I'm going to cut on the line. Okay, now because I think you may well be working with coping saws, I'm going to use a coping saw. The blades on these are notorious for snapping when students misuse them, not intentionally, but lots of movement left and right instead of cutting straight down. I am sat down. I would never normally sit down, but I'm doing this just to try and highlight the difficulties that students at primary will probably face. Different work heights, cutting heights, sizes of tools. It's quite difficult for them at that particular age. So to cut with the coping saw, I want my hand around the handle. If they want, you could put your other hand, left hand on top, being right-handed, just to secure it. It might be easier, and this is where students will differ, one hand on each, over there, so you're both on, and then looking straight down the middle, and I always do this with students, looking straight down the middle, so that I can see each side. If you don't look straight down the middle and you look this side, what tends to happen is you'll rotate your saw that way, and if you're standing that side, you'll rotate your saw that way. You have to position yourself appropriately. So if I was standing, I'd make sure my elbow could come all the way back, left that way. Likewise, if I was left-handed, all the way back. Because I'm using both hands, I can stand behind it. I've got my feet apart, and I'm lining my saw up. Now, starting off, I'm going to do some gentle backwards and forwards motions, and I'm just going to keep it going backwards and forwards, making sure that I'm following the line. Now, you will get to a stage, or students will get to a stage, where they can't see the line because there's some sawdust in the way. Do not blow the dust, okay? They blow the dust and they get a bit of blowback and get it in the right, it can be really dangerous. Just get them to wipe it off, and then they can carry on. There's absolutely no rush, nothing to do with the speed. It's about keeping the saw blade on the line. And because I'm at the line on both sides, on the top and the front, I can see exactly where I'm going. Okay, so I've got my two pieces of material. Just as you get towards the end, make sure students slow right down. Otherwise what happens is they tend to split and splinter the wood, and obviously you don't want that. So once we get to this stage, I've just got a few rough bits which I'm going to, in the next stage, sand off, as well as starting to shape my material. Okay, so see you soon.